based approach to health. So you are in your own ways changing how your body is functioning and how your mind is behaving. And that's very unique and that's very powerful. So when you look at a normal healthy person, okay, the normal healthy person, and we talk about these signs which talks about samadoshaha, samagnischa, samadhatu malakriyaha, prasannatmendriya manaha swastha itibhidiyate. So the first line, it says that you have a balanced digestive fire. Sama, Agni, means your digestive fire is balanced and you are hungry at the right time. You are able to create your tissues which are well formed and they are all nourished properly and you are feeling much more vitality at your cellular level. You are having a proper release of mala, which is called as sama malakriyaha, where you are having a balanced sense of evacuation of your bladder, your stool, your sweat, urine, all those functions are being properly released. The most important, apart from these bodily functions, is the second line, which talks about that your senses are clear and sharp. Your sensory faculties are clear and sharp, where they can take in the information so easily and process it so clearly that it becomes like a sharp knife, that it goes to the bottom of understanding what it is all about and able to dissect it properly. Apart from having just sharp, clear indriyas and having clarity of senses, you have a peaceful mind. The mind is peaceful. What it simply means, it doesn't get overexcited and overjoyed with something good happening to you, and it also doesn't get totally dull, depressed and unhappy with something bad happening to you. So how can you maintain a peace of mind with a degree of equanimity where you are not overjoyed with something and you are not absolutely cross-faced and unhappy with something? And we call it as a peaceful mind, but more importantly, that peaceful mind is the instrument from where the thinking and the decision making is going to be clear. And we'll talk about it a lot because we use this term called as sukha dukkhe samakrutva labha labho jaya jayo. Means how can you maintain a state of balance in a victorious situation even when you are vanquished, or in a happy state of life, in an unhappy state of life, where your oscillation doesn't happen like a big pendulum swing going from here to there, but you minimize those pendulum swings and whatever happens, it just happens within like a ripple. So it doesn't really take you a whole lot of time to come out of an unhappy situation in life and start nourishing yourself properly. But again, the important quality is about clear thinking. How can you quiet down the agitation of your mind so that your decision making is clean and clear and healthy? Still pool, reflect stars. Is that right? Still pool, reflect stars. If at all your water is very muddy, you won't see the reflection either of yourself or your environment. So you have to allow that stability and that groundedness and that peacefulness by quietening certain things into your life. When there are too many things happening, then you're not able to sit quiet and observe and witness and detach yourself from that. So you need to create time to observe that witnessing. If you want to send the arrow forward, what do you have to do? You have to hold it back, isn't it? As back as you hold, the more forward it's going to go. So it's the inner peace and the stillness and the rest which will generate the quality of activity you will have in your life. And I'm talking about material success, about fulfillment, about pleasure, about success, about everything else apart from creating a quality of activity which is going to cultivate a quality of rest. So when you describe a healthy person, he has to have this both component of a state of physical functioning which is good, healthy, normal, vital, as well as the mental functioning, Health and disease have two locations, the physical body and the mind. And we are talking about the physical disease. There is a mental imbalance, and mental imbalance also affect the physical disease. There's another book which I would highly like to recommend all of you to read. It is called as Biology of Belief. Have you heard this book? Read this book?
Biological what?
Biology of Belief.
Oh.
Biology of Belief. By Dr. Bruce Lipton.
Can you please write in on the
I can do that.
desk email? Thank you.
So, what I'm going to ask you now is a very interesting question. Because in a physical disease, there's also a mental imbalance, and mental imbalance also affects the physical body as such. So, belief system is all about you trying to understand that it restricts you. So, there are certain things which are called as limiting beliefs. Do you know what limiting beliefs are? So, something which holds you back, that you cannot do this. So, I need to ask you one question. That look at your own life and answer me one thing. That what do you think is one limiting belief that you have that you cannot do it or you cannot achieve it? That you feel that this is a limiting belief that I am unable to achieve in my life, or this is going to restrict me or constrict you because I think that this is my limiting belief which is not helping me to allow myself to do that. What would be your limiting belief?
I would say ignorance to the subject, just not believing in myself. If I don't know about something, I would say that, or doubting myself, I would say that.
Okay, so you're talking about you don't know enough about that. There's always kind of feeling that if you don't know enough about certain
Right.
things.
That I won't.
And this is a very transparent, interactive session, okay? So we're not judging anybody telling anything in this class, okay? We're all here to learn about how messed up we are all, okay? And that's the whole purpose of this class. So don't look at with anyone with a degree of prejudice or anything. Means, yeah, every one of us is having certain issues as such.
I would say that it's like I won't find a job that I'm good at, or like that is good for me.
Mhm.
And then there's also a money one that's crazy in there too.
Mhm.
I would say something to do with my mindset. Like if something is thrown at me too much, like someone constantly tells me like I should do this instead of maybe something I was thinking I would do,
Mhm.
that kind of blocks it. Like I'm like, I don't want to do that at all then. Like,
The limited belief to mean something what I think that I cannot do.
That's correct.
Right. Well, for about 10 or 15 years, I was in Europe as consultant for the Czech gymnastics sport.
Mhm.
I worked in alternative methods and conservative methods, and I was involved in the World Space Program, and I developed certain ability, which I obtained letters from the president of my country, and then I went to the US to study this program, and there are certain limitations from the NASA Space Agency and from planetary protection to stopping back, to just don't develop certain abilities. And now the opportunity are open in Russia and India and in China. And there is the problem because my country was under certain regime before 1989 and was called the revolution. And there is some kind of political issue, and now to continue with the program to do or not. This is the limited belief if I can do that or not.
Well, this is a little bit different than what you have understood, because it's more about something else, which is a situation outside you. But within your own body, that whether you feel that you say that, that I would like to go back to Czech Republic, but I'm unable to make that judgment, or I'm unable to make that decision, or the simple thing is that I think I can lose weight, but I always believe that I will never be able to lose my weight and reach to my ideal weight as such. It's a limiting belief. Okay, how about you?
Mine is hard. I think mostly it's, I didn't come from a family of origin where I learned to be able to trust. So I still struggle with that as an adult. And so I have a lot of limitations I've got around protection in order to be in something. And I can see that they're not useful. I can totally see they're not useful, but I'm still on kind of automatic sometimes with certain people. Sometimes for good reasons, sometimes it keeps me from having what I really want.
Okay. How about you?
I would say I can't do all of this. Like my life, like I just feel overwhelmed. That kind of thing. I don't have the energy. I'm not smart enough. I can't remember all of this. I can't do it all. It's that kind of thing.
That's good.
Not feeling at peace with, I can do this just one thing at a time. I like to focus rather than have too many things.
Okay. How's that?
I don't ever quiet my mind. So it's like myself, I guess. Even when I go to bed, I sleep very little because my brain is always thinking. And I practice everything I think too. So.
What would be your limiting belief?
I would say that believing that I've accomplished a lot, and then realizing that, you know, that can be limiting because you can believe that you've accomplished, but you have to really keep on going, and there's no limit really to who you are. But sometimes at the end of our day, we're like, we've done so much, but we can do so much more. And it's just, you know, and there's so many beliefs that I think limit us.
Well, this is very right. So what I want you to do is, whenever you get the next chance in the break, just write down what your limiting beliefs are. And once you have noted down, just ask yourself, is that really something that you believe into is going to limit you? Is that something that you really cannot accomplish or change? Because if you think that I have to know everything before I go into a situation, it's never going to be possible. At what point I am going to say that this is enough information for me to deal with this situation, to answer a few questions or to make a good, intelligent judgment out of it? Or any situation in life, what we call it as a limiting belief is not true, is a partial truth to it. For you to manifest a good, well-paying job is a limiting belief that you have inflicted on yourself, which restricts you from accomplishing that. The moment you say, yeah, I'm such a good-looking person, I'm very smart, I have the right credentials, I can manifest a wonderful job, earning enough money for me, what I am fully capable of, and deal with that accordingly, then the things will happen. The moment you are constantly dabbled with not 1, 2, but 10, 15, 20, 30 limiting beliefs that you constantly toy with, then it's going to affect you. It's going to restrict you. It's going to constrict you from the growth in your life. And the first thing is you have to acknowledge that where it is bugging, what is holding me back. That's number one thing. Is that correct? And the second part is that your acknowledgement that this is not true, but it's a partial truth to it. You can't blame it on your parents, you can't blame it on this, you can't blame it on that. That's long ago, 50 years ago you're talking about. So whenever you look at self-limiting beliefs, they will constrict your life. And how do you change the mindset? And personal growth, wellness, transformation, it all depends upon looking at your mind and willpower and allowing you yourself to accomplish things which are different. Many times we get very egoistic with what we have achieved also. What I have manifested, what I have done and everything, and how can I say that, well, I did that with some degree of support and peaceful of mind and everything. I wish it could be a little bit different, but I can separate myself and move on and start the next day with a clear slate of frame of my mind.